Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us as part of College Access Central to learn a little bit more about the University of Maryland. Today, we're going to be talking about the transfer process and specifically transferring to the University of Maryland. My name is Maggie, and I currently work in the Office of Undergraduate Admissions, and I went to the University of Maryland for my undergraduate degree. And I'm joined by my wonderful colleague, Taylor, who I'll let introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Taylor Duvall. I'm also with the Office of Undergraduate Admissions, and I also earned my undergraduate degree from the University of Maryland. I was a transfer student to the university as well. Today we're going to be talking with you about the transfer process, as there are multiple pathways for you to become a TERP, whether that be directly as a freshman or via a transfer pathway.
All right, so we just want to touch on a couple of distinctions that the university has recently earned, and it's possible you may have seen these as you're going through your college search process. We are, according to Kiplinger's Personal Finance, the 10th best value among public colleges for in-state students. That's an important distinction to touch on because we do feel that you're getting the best value for your tuition dollar when you're getting your education at the University of Maryland. We are also ranked 12th among all public universities, according to Forbes, and 8th for entrepreneurship programs, according to the Princeton Review and Entrepreneur Magazine. Our students are fearless. All right, so we are often asked, what is the University of Maryland student like? And my favorite answer is that there is no answer. We take an extraordinary high amount of pride in how diverse our campus is, and this diversity expands through the entire campus community. 44% of our students self-identify as a student of color. We have geographic representation from all 50 states and 116 different countries. We have diversity of thought, sexual orientation, political ideology, really across our campus. The only commonality that most of our students have is that they are passionate and they are involved in our campus life. And this diversity in our campus brings so much to your educational experience in and outside of the classroom. All right, so who is a transfer student? This may seem like a bit of an obvious question, but in the case of figuring out should you be applying as a transfer freshman, we define a transfer student as someone who is in progress of at least 12 college credits post high school graduation. We recognize that there are a lot of fantastic programs out there where you very may well be taking college credits while still in high school, or perhaps even finishing an associate's degree by the time you're graduating high school. But until you finish your graduation, then you are from the high school, you are still considered a freshman applicant. After that, once you're in progress of 12 credits, then we would consider you a transfer student, and you'd be applying using our transfer application, which we'll talk about in a few slides. All right, we're going to transition over to the, I have transfer on the brain, the admission section, and I will let Taylor talk a little bit about our application components and our review process.
So the University of Maryland provides a holistic review for all of our applicants. That means that we are looking at every piece of information that you submit to us, not simply your transcript and just looking at that and making a decision. So it is a holistic review taking into account 26 different factors which are listed on our screen. For transfer students, some of these are going to be flexibly applied. So for example, high school achievement, if you aren't required to submit your high school transcript once you've reached 30 college credits or 45 quarter hours, we would be looking more so at your college transcript and your college achievement. Same thing with your SAT or ACT scores. For students, once they've completed 30 college credits or 45 quarter hours, they are no longer required to submit those test scores. But we will be looking at all the other factors and flexibly applying them to your application review. For the application components, in addition to the application form itself, we will need your official transcripts from all previously attended colleges or all colleges you have earned college credit at. If you have less than 30 college credits completed with grades posted or 45 quarter hours, we would also need your official high school transcript as well as standardized test scores. There is a transfer essay included in the coalition application. Letters of recommendation are optional for our transfer applicants as well as the resume, and there is a $75 application fee. If you look to the right of your screen, you will see the Maryland timeline. We do have 2 deadlines for both our fall and spring admission. So we do recommend that you apply by the early action application deadline for whichever semester that you are interested in, as it does provide best consideration for admission as well as consideration for merit-based scholarships. It also allows you the most time possible to plan for your semester. The fall early action deadline is March 1st and the regular deadline is June 1st. The spring deadlines are August 1st for early action and November 15th for regular decision. After you get an admission decision, if you are offered the opportunity to become a TERP, your confirmation is within 30 days of the decision offer. And now back to Maggie about schools, colleges, and majors.
Wonderful. All right. So of course, academics are going to be the biggest piece of your college education. And we are lucky to say we have a little over 90 majors for students to choose from. And these are across our 12 different schools and colleges, which we have listed on the screen in front of you. Another reason we like to show these broken down by school and college is to explain that though we are such a large university, there are so many different ways that you find your communities across campus. And certainly though we are all University of Maryland students and staff, you may also be a student in the Robert H. Smith School of Business or the School of Public Health. You'll have that smaller school feel within your school and colleges with all the diversity, resources, and support that a large university can provide for you. I do also want to mention you are able to double major and minor across different schools and colleges if that is something you're interested in doing. Now, some of our most popular majors and programs are what we call limited enrollment programs. This title certainly gets straight to the point, as it really describes what that looks like. So essentially, because these are so popular, we just need to limit how many people are enrolled in each program each given year and semester to make sure the students who are in those programs have access to classroom space, resources, advising, and are having those smaller spaces to learn in. Now, what that means when you're applying as a transfer student is there will be an additional review of your application to see if you've met the requirements for these programs. Now, I'll back up for just a second. And one thing I do want to emphasize is that we review applications for admission major blind. That means if you are interested in a limited enrollment program or an LEP, we call them for short, if you're undecided or you're interested in non-LEP, that has no bearing on your admission decision. We would first decide as an admission committee if we are going to offer student admission. And then if they are interested in one of these programs, there's a secondary review of their application to see if they've met the requirements. With all of these programs, except for one, which I'll touch on in just a second, it's non-competitive admission. So if you meet their minimum requirements and are admitted to the university, you'll be directly placed into that major. For example, with computer science, the requirements for that major are 2 programming classes and Calculus 1 and a minimum GPA of a 2.7. If you were to meet the minimum grades in those required classes and that GPA, and you were admitted to the university, you would be directly placed into that program. If you are admitted to the university before meeting the requirements for your program, you can apply again as what we call an internal transfer student. Really, the big thing to take away here is, again, we review major blind. As I mentioned, there is one exception to the rule. The School of Business does have a competitive review starting at a 3.0 and guarantees admission to students into their program if they reach a 3.8 GPA or higher, as well as meeting their specific course requirements. That's a lot of detailed nuances. Again, really the important takeaway is that we do review major blind, and you can find all of the requirements listed at lep.umd.edu, which is listed towards the bottom of this slide. All right, I'm going to pass it back over to Taylor to talk a little bit about financial aid and scholarships for our transfer students.
Thanks, Maggie. So we're going to talk first about financial aid. The University of Maryland does provide need-based financial aid. You would want to fill out the free application for federal student aid, the FAFSA for short. It opens every year on October 1st, so you would want to start early just to make sure it's done in a timely manner. Our priority deadline for the FAFSA is January 1st. However, you need to file it by June 30th in order to be considered for financial aid. We do list our school code on this slide for easy access to it, and there are departmental scholarships. These vary depending on department, so you would want to look into your individual major as well as the individual college that you are interested in. For more information about financial aid, we do recommend visiting the financial aid website, which is listed at the bottom of the screen. Next up, we do have merit scholarships for our transfer students. I'm going to start with our Frederick Douglass Scholarship, which is on the left of the screen. It is our most prestigious transfer scholarship. To qualify for the scholarship, a student does need to attend a Maryland community college and earn either 56 credits or an associate's degree. The student does need to have a 3.5 cumulative GPA or higher, as well as be a Maryland resident at the time of the application. This is the only scholarship in the Office of Undergraduate Admissions that does require a separate application that students would need to complete, and students would need to apply by our early action application deadline, which is March 1st for the fall. There is also an online application for the scholarship as well. Students who are spring admitted are eligible for the scholarship. However, it would start applying during the following fall semester. It would not retroactively apply for the spring. For any merit scholarships or financial aid at the University of Maryland, a student does need to be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident at the time of the review. I would also now direct your attention to the right side of your screen, which goes over 2 other scholarships from the Office of Undergraduate Admission. Both of them are partial tuition scholarships and $5,000 for 2 semesters, or $10,000 for the entire 2 years that a student may be completing their undergraduate degree. The President's Transfer Scholarship is offered to out-of-state applicants. They simply need to apply by the early action application deadline. There is also the Maryland Transfer Scholarship, which again is a partial tuition scholarship. It is for in-state students who have attended a Maryland 2-year or 4-year institution, and that scholarship takes into account both academic talent as well as demonstrated need. So the FAFSA is required. Students would want to apply by the early action deadline, which is March 1st for admission for the fall, as well as complete the FAFSA by that priority consideration deadline, January 1st. For more information about additional scholarship opportunities, we do recommend visiting our admissions website.
All right, now we're going to take time to talk a little bit more about some access initiatives. All right, so how to transfer to the University of Maryland. Now, the first one might seem fairly obvious, but of course you need to be enrolled at an accredited institution. As I mentioned previously in the presentation, for our purposes of applying to Maryland, a transfer student is anyone who is enrolled in at least 12 college semester credits at an accredited institution. Now, often we are asked, should I enroll at a 2- or 4-year institution when students are starting to plan for their transfer pathway to the University of Maryland? And the truth is, for us, it does not really matter as long as it's the best option for you as a student. That's a conversation that often you're going to want to be having with your parents or guardians, and really thinking and reflecting with yourself about what the best next step is for you academically. We want to see you taking a challenging curriculum. Certainly that does not mean you have to enter and take the hardest classes available to you right away, but certainly taking on courses that will be somewhat challenging and increasing your rigor as you academically progress. That brings me to our next point. We want to see academic progress being made. So moving forth in your requirements over your first few semesters or years, depending on when it is that you would like to transfer. Additionally, you want to be meeting with your community college counselor or with your academic advisor if you're at a 4-year institution. This is very important to make sure that you are making academic progress and you're planning properly in terms of what credits will transfer over, or if there's any specific requirements that you need to meet. One of the requirements we strongly encourage students to have complete before they're applying and to be considered competitive is fundamental math and English. Often your advisor can help you figure out what courses at your current institution will transfer back to the University of Maryland College Park as fundamental math and English. We also have a great resource available on our transfer credit website. You can see it hyperlinked there. It's transfercredit.umd.edu. This will allow you to plug in any institution to see how the credits will transfer over to the University of Maryland College Park. In-state, for 2- and 4-year institutions, all of the courses, unless they are brand new this summer, have already been evaluated to see how they will transfer or not transfer over to the University of Maryland. And even out of state, the majority of courses in large institutions have already been evaluated. If a course has not yet been evaluated, certainly you can reach out to Transfer Credit Services to see if they are able to do so for you. We also have a great resource called Pre-Transfer Advising at the University of Maryland. And there are some actual specific advisors to some of our Maryland community college partners. The Pre-Transfer Advising Office can not only help you navigate the transfer credit database, but can also do academic planning and academic advising, which the Office of Admissions is not able to do. We also have a fantastic access program called the Maryland Transfer Advantage Program that I will let Taylor talk about.
So the Maryland Transfer Advantage Program, or MTAP for short, is offered at a large amount of our Maryland community colleges that are listed on the screen. You do have to apply to the Maryland Transfer Advantage Program. You would not be in the program simply for attending one of the partner institutions. So the application is due by June 1st for fall participation or November 15th for spring participation. The benefits of participating in this program are you can take a course in the summer or winter term while enrolled at your community college. This would also be eligible for a 25% tuition discount on that course. And you can take one course per term with up to 9 credits while you're enrolled at your community college. During the winter or spring, you would be able to take those courses with us. There's also guaranteed admission upon successful completion of the program, provided that you also submit your transfer application by the early action deadline. To complete the program, you would want to complete 30 academic college credits or an associate's degree at a partner institution, including fundamental studies, academic English composition, or writing and mathematics. You would want to have a cumulative GPA of a 3.0 or higher, and then also apply and have a complete application for transfer by the early action deadline. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We are very excited that you're considering the option of transfer.
Thank you again. As Taylor said, we are so excited to talk about transfer options with students, families, and college counselors. Certainly, if you have additional questions, we encourage you to reach out via email or over the phone. You can find both of these listed in the middle of the screen right there. And absolutely, we are happy to answer any and all questions related to transfer, freshman admission, and campus in general.
Also, please feel free to follow us on social media. We post excellent resources there, as well as updates regarding our admission processes. Thanks again for joining us, and have a great day.